Hello and welcome back to Maths with Mr. Duffield. I am the aforementioned Mr. Duffield, and I've got another past IGCSE exam paper question in front of me in the series that is for my UF and GE based on the paper I gave them last week. Let's get to it. I have a circle. It's labelled with a bunch of things. A, D, B and E are points on a circle centre 0. AFBC, OEC and OFD are straight lines. AF is 7 centimetres, FB is 4, BC is 5 centimetres, FD is 2 centimetres, and CE is X centimetres. Work out the value of X, showing you're working clearly. Now this is a circle theorem question, and it's a fairly rare one because it requires use of a theorem that doesn't often get seen in papers. It looks like it's been brought back to the mainstream about now. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to just take the liberty of just extending the kind of straight lines that go through these circles for a bit, and I'm doing that for a reason that I'll talk about in a second. Okay, so the circle theorem that I'm using here is the one that claims the product of two kind of sections of a chord that are intersected by another is equal to the product of that intersecting chord's sections, as it were. So what I'm saying is this section times this section gives me the same number as this section times this section. Now this is useful to me in finding the value of X. So let's start doing a bit of maths here. So this section and this section is 4 times 7, okay? And then this section times this section is 2 times, oh, I don't know, let's label the far end of this line, I don't know, capital X times fx, okay? Fx. 4 times 7 is 28. Divide both sides by 2, I get my value of fx, which is, in this case, 14. Okay? So this entire section here is 14, and this is 2, using that circle theorem. Now, this is interesting because it tells me, effectively, what the diameter of the circle is. The diameter of the circle is this fx section and this fd section added together, which is 16. Okay? That's kind of useful. It's useful because, well, I know that this length is going to be 16 as well, which is also, excuse me, applicable to the kind of slightly varied version of this theorem, which is when the chords kind of go outside the circle and intersect at an outside point, a slightly different and amended kind of process happens for these multipliers. In essence, this section of this chord and then the chord in its entirety multiplied by this section of the chord and then the entire section in its entirety also are going to be equal to each other. Okay, that's a bit of a mouthful, and I think I've pretty much ruined this sketch now, but let's do the maths here and see what happens. So 5 times the entirety of all of these lengths added together, the entire length of AC, 5 plus 4 plus 7, is the same as X times, well, the entirety of this length. And we've already established that this entire length is 16 centimeters. That's the diameter of the circle. So it's X times X plus 16. Okay? Now it might be that you need to go away and do some work on the circle theorems to get that kind of understanding of how these lengths interact with each other. And that's fine. Feel free to do that. 5 times 5 plus 4 plus 7. 5 plus 4 plus 7 is 16. 5 times 16 is 80. Effectively, this is a single bracket expansion. X times x is x squared. X times 16 is 16x. Okay? Take away 80 from both sides. I end up with x squared plus 16x minus 80 equals 0. Okay? Just going to move this slightly further down so you can see the rest of my page. And then we're solving this quadratic. Yeah? To find the value of x is to solve this quadratic in this particular case. Let's see. Are there two numbers that add together to make 16 and multiply together to make negative 80? Yes. Positive 20 and negative 4. 20 add negative 4 makes positive 16, and 20 multiplied by negative 4 makes negative 80. Meaning that there are two solutions to this. Two values of x that make the product of these two brackets 0. And that is negative 20 or 4. Okay? Now let's relate this back to this original question. X is a length, right? We're working out the value of this length in a certain number of centimeters. It doesn't make sense for a length to be negative, therefore. So 4 being positive is effectively the only value that makes sense to be a length for this question. So x is going to be 4 centimeters. Now I appreciate there's a lot of stuff going on here in terms of intersecting chord theorems inside a circle and lines kind of starting at a circle and intersecting outside. And it might be necessary for you to go away and look at that kind of element in a bit more detail. But that is the process. I hope that that makes sense, or at least insofar as it directs you to a resource to perhaps revise. I hope that you're doing well, that you're staying positive and productive. I wish you all the best in all of your work. And for goodness sake, get your work done on Teams. I will talk to you very soon.